into the apprenticeship grants here in Pennsylvania associated with the PAsmart Initiative. The intent of this webinar is to provide interested parties with an overview of the PAsmart Initiative, the intent of the 3 apprenticeship grants, and some tips and best practices to submitting a workforce development career, and then to answer any questions you may have about the initiative. And before I get started, I want to ask everyone if they could mute their phones, please, or mute your computer. Maybe having some feedback, so please mute until we get through the presentation. So, what is PAsmart? Really, it's an investment that has been made into supporting economic growth, education, and training opportunities. How can we really start to make an intentional, collaborative effort in economic growth, education, and training opportunities? And the partners that we have involved in the PAsmart Initiative really complement that first point. With our relationship with DCED, with education and other agencies within L&I, really trying to push this along and make that first point a reality. And how can we start to align our different agencies? How can we start to make it really strategic where the funds are really supporting each other in this effort? And then really changing how we interact with each other. I think we've all been a little guilty of being a little siloed, but I think the PAsmart Initiative really starts to bring together the initiatives that we have identified as important in our own agencies. And really that feel of collaboration and family and that ecosystem, developing the ecosystem out there is really part of it. And then the better outcomes in workforce development. We serve the students, the workers, the businesses, and the communities. How can we best develop policies, procedures, and practices, and funding resources to help support those efforts? So, what's out there? What is the dollar amounts that are out there? So, as you can see, in education, STEM education and computer science is a really big part of it, with a $20 million allocation. There's also a $7 million allocation for apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship, and then a $4.6 million in industry partnerships. Again, talking about that collaboration, really showing an unprecedented amount of resources that's been put into this collaboration. If you want to get more information on the PAsmart Initiative, you can go to the website. It can provide where you can get applications for the different grant opportunities and information to really talk about more in-depth detail about the thought behind this initiative. So as we really start to dig into the 3 different grant opportunities, and it's the Registered Apprenticeship Ambassador Network, the Registered Apprenticeship Programs, and the Registered Pre-Apprenticeship Programs. We really want to, and thought that it was appropriate to really go into the thought process that went behind this. It would really help you as you develop any application that you have for projects. So, apprenticeship overall, registered apprenticeship overall, we thought that there were 5 different buckets of things that we really wanted to accomplish. Where are the goals of the initiative from an apprenticeship perspective? And what needs to occur to really push this along, and really the governor put a rule out there that they wanted to double the number of apprentices by 2025. So that process went into this as well. It's an ambitious goal, but we feel as though if we do these things, we can accomplish that goal. So the first one that was really key for us was building an ambassador network. So the Apprenticeship and Training Office, which was developed in 2016. So we're still in our infancy. We've done a lot of good things in a short period of time, but we're a small organization. Recently, we had a summit that really called upon people to be apprenticeship ambassadors. So we realized that we cannot really go out and spread the word of apprenticeship, registered apprenticeship, to really get out to everyone that it needs to. So, we said we really need to develop apprenticeship ambassadors and add, people from different organizations, whether it's community colleges, chamber of commerce, labor organizations, training providers, K through 12, whoever in a geographical region that can support training people and then connecting them with real careers at the end. We felt as though there really needed to be this sense of ambassadors, people who can talk about it. So one of the key components to that is really developing that ambassador network. The second one is really strengthen the registered apprenticeship pipeline. So, we can build models, and that's one of the main things that we've done in the first couple of years here is build the models for employers and engage employers about the different aspects of apprenticeship and helping them build that within their company. But really, if we're talking about the talent pipeline, really there's two ends to a pipe, and we need talent to flow through so the employers can feel the effects of a registered apprenticeship program, because that's what they really want is the skilled and talent that's coming through their doors. So building that talent pipeline and connecting it to the K through 12 system, right? Building it at a lower level with our STEM occupations with PDE is really another one of these goals that we feel as though is a need to make this happen. We feel like we need to develop this pipeline because that is the lifeblood of all employers, is to have the talent going into their establishment. So strengthening that pipeline. And it's really not just the K through 12 that we want to develop this pipeline with. It's with post-secondary education. It's with the community-based organizations. It's with all different groups. It's with our adult population. It's with our veteran population. It's with our people with disability population. So we really feel as though strengthening that pipeline is really a key component to this. We feel as though if we can make connectivity to post-secondary education with the existing models or even new models of apprenticeship, that we will better serve our student and our populations that are involved. We feel as though this is really key to moving it forward, because we talk about in this whole PAsmart initiative is really developing that thought of career pathways. How do we develop it for our post-secondary students, but the students that didn't go that route to go to college? How can we build career pathways for one or the other or both? How do we develop it, right? So we want to be able to add credit and non-credit training providers, post-secondary education to registered apprenticeship programs to really to make that a holistic approach to education, where you're getting the theory training at a high level, but you're also getting that on-the-job training that is really vital to employers. Another part of it was the group sponsorship approach, right? How do this? If you've been to any of our presentations before, you've heard us talk about group sponsorship, and how do we start to build that approach out? There's 777 registered programs in Pennsylvania currently. A lot of them are of the individual type. We feel as though the funding, the resources can be better used if we kind of group together and get consortiums of people that can support apprenticeships. So we're really looking to incorporate this group notion into our apprenticeship programs and really see how we can come together and solve the skill gap through apprenticeship. And develop a skilled workforce. When it comes down to it, that's what employers are looking for, a developed skilled workforce. So that has to be built into it. And how do we know that they're a skilled workforce? It's by the portable credential that apprenticeship gives, registered apprenticeship gives, I should say. Having that industry recognized credential, which is registered apprenticeship, to go along with it, it really speaks to the education level of our skilled workforce. So we want to have more people having more credentials that are skilled and knowledgeable of how to do specific occupations intensively. So as we go into our first bucket of apprenticeship grant opportunities, it's the Registered Apprenticeship Ambassador Network. And the line that you see underneath there, applicants should be able to demonstrate and formulate a plan that includes the ability to lead the project. A big part of this and what we're talking about is definitely a culture change with some employers. But it needs someone to lead this initiative. It needs someone or an organization to be able to lead it to completion. To be able to pick up the pieces where things may fall off of someone else's table because they're trying to do what they do best, and that's make things for their company or provide services for folks. The project manager needs to be able to tie together the loose ends and be able to push the job through completion. Provide technical assistance. When we put together the applications and all the different moving parts that are involved in this group's sponsorship effort, there is some technical assistance that is involved and is needed for this project, whether that's connecting it to the apprenticeship and training office, so we can offer our programmatic or regulatory knowledge of apprenticeship programs, or it's connecting it to a training provider. Technical assistance is definitely needed in this aspect in the apprenticeship ambassador. Develop, connect, engage partners. Really, this is what it's about. How can we bring together the people in our region? Some employers that are involved in this, that are looking to get involved in registered apprenticeship, and training providers for that matter, may not know that there's other organizations out there that can complete a process that they offer. Whether that's, and when I say complete a process, meaning that you are the training provider, but there may be an employer out there looking for a training provider out there to complete a registered apprenticeship. The ambassador network can be that connecting piece in that region for employers and training providers. And we really talk about an apprenticeship ecosystem. What is it? What is that? It's those partners in your area connecting together and supporting each other. So there's life and thriving action within workforce development within your region. So that's what we mean by that point. And assist in research efforts. We talked, and we say this to people who submit for program sponsors and apprenticeship. Your program is built today, and it looks one way, but we expect it to change. We expect you to incorporate best practices. How do you find those best practices? Well, you do your research and you see what other states are doing. You see what other programs within the state are doing. You see the new cutting edges in industry and with training providers, different ways to deliver to your workers and to your apprentices. So being able to have that research and really look to see how I can stay in front of the curve in terms of the changes in industry and education really leads to that point. And the last one is helping with the curriculum development and alignment. How do we line it up? People are, this is going to take some oversight to really take the curriculum that may be in place somewhere else, take a DACM, take something that an employer has, some training that they do internally, and how do we turn that into an apprenticeship program? So being able to facilitate that action is definitely a huge part of this initiative. The next two I combined together, the registered apprenticeship and registered pre-apprenticeship. And I did that for one reason. The registered apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship, how they are built now is somewhat separate entities because they weren't in development before. But if we think about it, they really need each other. They really should be built with the other in mind. We talk about registered pre-apprenticeship. There's 3 characteristics that it must have to be registered with the state. Is it connected to a registered apprenticeship program is the very first one. So we feel as though these are really one and the same. If you have a registered apprenticeship program and you are desiring to develop a registered pre-apprenticeship program, please visit our website and get our materials we will help you along with that process. But again, going back to what we're looking for in this part of the grant offerings is to really get back into developing this multi-employer consortium. And whether it's with group sponsorship or it's through a multi-employer consortium of employers involved in the related instruction portion of your apprenticeship program, we should really be looking at how we can develop it, how we can be part of these type of consortia to really help make more efficient and effective uses of funding toward those efforts. The next one is really a big piece to all of the efforts really, and it's the notion of non-traditional models of apprenticeship. And there should be really another one on there is it's models, participants, and occupation, but really focusing on those two of the models and the participants. When I talk about non-traditional models of apprenticeship, just to give you some examples, the group non-joint program association is something new that was in Pennsylvania that we were really pushing for a while. But now with the different groups that are involved in registered apprenticeship, we've had to meet what is something that employers and training providers need is more flexibility within the plan. So we've modified the standards to incorporate that. But really connecting to different partners that haven't been connected with in the past is an example of non-traditional models of apprenticeship. Participants, getting people involved that haven't traditionally been involved in registered apprenticeship before. That is another big one. People, veterans, people with disabilities, females in the trades. There's all different types of participants that we can engage from underserved communities to be involved that haven't traditionally been involved in registered apprenticeship in large numbers. So that's really what we're talking about. And to the traditional folks or the trades and labor organizations, you can also be involved in non-traditional apprenticeship. This does not exclude you from those models. Again, connecting with participants, developing plans to connect to those groups is definitely part of that non-traditional scope that you can be involved in. Improve the program's ability to deliver training, right? So, part of being a program sponsor of an apprenticeship program or registered apprenticeship program is really the ability to administer the program for the participants and for the employers and all of the different groups involved. How can you administer it? How can you track the status of the apprentice? If there needs to be trades added to the program, to an existing program, if there needs to be more training providers. So some of the things that you can look to do and we look to support in this initiative are the ability to really deliver to more people, to deliver training more effectively to more people is really something that we're looking for in this grant as well. And again, expanding your administrative capacity to deliver the program. Being able to take on more apprentices, to have those in the program are definitely things that we will support with our funding in these grant opportunities. And I'm sorry, we are getting some more feedback. So if you are on and you are not muted, can you please mute your line? We are getting a little bit of feedback on our end here. So thank you. So here's a list of the eligible applicants that are there that can apply for the funding. Very broad and various and diverse, and that's for a good reason. Everyone there can pretty much be a partner, or should be. Not all, you don't have to have everyone there involved in your partnership, but everyone in there should be involved in the partnership, or they're eligible to be involved in a partnership. But we wanted to be able to support those that are in the ecosystem to be able to do these efforts as well. Eligible uses, you can see them listed there. These are the type of things that we will support with that train of thought that I was going through with the different buckets of apprenticeship funding that are available. And things to support curriculum development, supporting equipment purchases for training programs, any costs associated with mentoring apprentices. Those are the type of things that we will fund in this opportunity. So just wanted to add some things on here just to keep in mind as you submit your grant, that these are some successful steps that in general will help you submit a better grant. So create a staffing sheet and determine what your friends are now. Start developing all of that information that you need to build up your infrastructure to deliver, and how the funding will be distributed will save you time in the process moving forward. We also ask you to read through the NGA thoroughly. Really look at it. Really, hopefully that what we're talking about today helps you put some context behind the NGA. But really look through it and go over it. Look at all the details. Again, this is a competitive grant offering, so really pay attention to detail, and that will help you with your results. Work with someone who's a good writer. They will help you draft your narrative. You may have some really good ideas, but if it can't be expressed in the right way and coherently, so we get the drift of what you're trying to get at, it may not go noticed. So really try to get with someone who can help you really kind of be an editor for your project, really help build it out. Make sure your budget adds up correctly. Make sure your budget narrative is detailed. Make sure you submit all the required documents. And I know these things may sound pretty simple and common sense, but we really just hope that everything that is put out there that you want is a great idea, really gets conveyed and doesn't get dinged by our review team for not having submitted the things the appropriate way. So what's next in the process? How do we move it forward? So after we would receive your grant applications, we have a staff here that's going to go through and just make sure that you have all the mandatory documents that are needed to meet the baseline requirements for the applications. All the applications are tracked. They are then provided to a team who will go over and grade and score the applications. Recommendations are made for final award. Award and denial letters will be sent to appropriate applicants. We will then release the award, an award document. And then we get into the technical stuff of grant agreements, notice of obligations, reporting instructions, and other terms and conditions. So that's the general process of how this will go once, the date of December 21st. Once we get the grant offerings in, this is the process that we'll go through to review the information. Non-procurement vendor information. You will have to go through this process to apply for the grants. The process does not have to be complete by the time of your submission on December 21st, but start the process. It may take some time, especially if there's a large influx of these applications going through. So please start the process if you do plan on applying for this grant. Another slide here that goes into grant reporting information. I'm not going to read this. It is there. This presentation will be saved for you if you do want to hear it again. We also have another presentation that will be on November 27th at 1 o'clock. So please read over this information. But this is the things that will be required upon you if you are awarded the grant. Also, the budget form information is on, the application is on SurveyMonkey. Please go to the site if you're interested in applying for these grants. If you have any questions or you're looking for information about registered apprenticeship, here's our website. Please visit it. It has various information on there about apprenticeship, pre-apprenticeship, any appointments or events that are coming up. It also has a live feed, Twitter feed for labor and industry that talks about different things other than apprenticeship and training, other things in workforce development, and other things going on in the labor industry. So please visit our website. That concludes the presentation. At this time, we will take any questions that you may have. In the chat section to please type your questions in. And you are unmuted now. You have the ability to be unmuted. So if you have questions. So we are going to start with some of the chat questions that we will read out here. We have a list of partners looking for apprentices. Well, that is a good question. I would say that all programs that have apprenticeship or registered apprenticeship programs are looking for apprentices. There's no specific list on that. I would say all registered apprenticeship programs, for the most part, at some stage are looking to have apprentices. And some of the other groups, the training providers are looking for students that could be apprentices as well. So yes, there are groups that are out there looking for them, but there is no consensus list.
If the local workforce development board needs to be the fiscal agent, and they do not for this grant, for any of the 3 grants. Also, the application, the survey application monkey, a PDF version will be posted shortly on the website, so you can see all of the questions before you go in to apply. Also, you are eligible to apply or submit applications for any of these grants if your program is not registered. It is stated in the RFP that you just register or begin the process to register by December 31st, 2019.
Next question is, who do we address the letters of support to?
You can direct the letters of support to Eric Ramsey, the director of the ATO.
Next question is, paying participants stipends. It depends on your definition of the word stipend. You can definitely include it if you're talking about pre-apprenticeship and having pre-apprenticeships come and participate in program. Paying them a wage for participation, you can include that in your budget. The next question is there a list of current registered apprenticeships somewhere?
Yes, we do have a list. We can, if you send your questions to the PAsmart resource account, we can get that to you.
This question is, if we receive a capacity building grant to register a program, can we apply for PAsmart, assuming we will be registered? You can apply for PAsmart as long as the activities that you are funding under this grant are not the exact same activities that you funded for your capacity. Plumbing and vascular network.
Yeah, there's some trouble with the people hearing the question and answers. I think that's on our end. We will go through and start addressing these in the chat box if that's okay, and then at this point open up to people on the phone to ask questions.
Okay.
Hey, are there any questions that I'm not hearing? Yeah, I'm being told that there's no one else can really hear anyone else on the line. You may have to still type questions in. We are unmuted, so if you can.
Okay, thanks for.
There we go. Okay. So we hear, can you hear now? Sure. If we're having some technical difficulties. So at this point, I think
Is it over?
if we have any questions that anyone can type in, we'll take those so we can the inconvenience. Or more any types, any more questions. We will, at the end of this as well, there will be some FAQs that are posted as well that will capture some of the questions, and we will post them online. We would send that to the PAsmart web resource account on the PAsmart website. So the question is asked now, if a pre-apprenticeship program is connected to a post-secondary school, does the pre-apprenticeship program have to be directly tied to an apprenticeship program? But to be considered a registered pre-apprenticeship program, one of the things that has to happen is it has to be connected to a registered apprenticeship program. Part of the things that my office does with your plans, we help give technical assistance to groups that want to make those connections. So we do employer engagement sessions and things of that nature to make these connections. So yes, it does have to be connected to a registered apprenticeship program. Another question, will you consider grants for traditional industries, occupations that are increasing outreach to non-traditional populations? Absolutely, that is absolutely what we're looking for. And that's what I mentioned before, that the traditional occupations are not excluded from non-traditional apprenticeship. Connecting to these different populations is definitely something that we would be looking for, so yes. Next question, can you save a partially completed application and then come back and finish it later? No, you cannot. That part of it, I don't think you can do. Next question. Is there any limit to the amount of money that can be used for equipment? No, I think the restriction is within the grant award amounts. So as long as you're within that and you have a plan that talks about it, that is allowable. I want to also make a point to say that all of the questions can be submitted to the PAsmart resource account on the PAsmart website. Another question, does someone say that we do not need to use local workforce development boards as a fiscal agent? Yes.
Good afternoon. You do not need to use the local workforce or awarded applicants, Department of Labor, enter into a grant agreement and contract directly with the applicant.
I hear that people still can't hear us. I think at this point, if everyone's okay with it, you can continue with your questions and we will keep track of them and we will put them out in an FAQ. We also will be having the webinar again next week, which may give you another opportunity.
Sorry about that. Okay. I guess the short answer to that is they do not need to be the fiscal agent. We will post an answer to that on the PAsmart website. Okay. Can you please answer again whether stipends are allowable costs? Yes. Can the grant application start with 1 or 2 employers with the goal of adding more employers over time? Absolutely. Again, we do not expect that your initial application is your finished project, finished product. By all means, we want you to add employers on so the program can go, the consortium can grow. So yes, the answer to that is yes. Another question, it says, in the past, WDB used 10% of the funds for admin for them. If you go alone, is that what your admin fringe cost would be? So that information on the cap is listed in the RFP.
The number of boards will be dependent on multiple factors. From Clara Council.
Says I have a question from, says, when will we see all of the application questions?
separately, I mentioned that a PDF version of the application will be online on the PAsmart website. When that is up, you will be able to preview them. So you'll be able to see that and then know what you need for your actual application. And that should hopefully be within the next few days.
Okay, another question. If the max is $150 per applicant for the registered apprenticeship program, will the state be awarding 46 applications if my math is correct? No, that's not necessarily true. It really depends on the applications that we get in and how they are viewed. So no, that is not necessarily the awards number of applicants that we will have for this initiative. We are not registered. We're not a registered apprenticeship yet. Can we apply? Absolutely. You can apply to become a registered apprenticeship program. All registered programs have to go through our council. After we put together your registered apprenticeship program, it has to get approved by our apprenticeship and training council for that process to happen. But absolutely, we can start to end the process. What are the geographic boundaries of the ambassador network? We can list that information on the PAsmart website. We'll answer that there. Another question, is there an opportunity to apply for more than $150,000 if the application comes from a larger source? Well, no, per award, those are the award amounts. That is our cap that we put on that amount. So keep that in mind when you apply. Okay, at this point, I think we have taken the questions we will take for this session. And again, you can submit your questions to the PAsmart website. Please post your questions to the website, and we will look to reply to those. We will have an FAQ posted on that site that you will see questions from other people. So thank you for everyone joining in today. We really appreciate it. We're really excited about this opportunity for everyone. Thank you, and really are excited to move this forward. If you did not hear the last time, again, this will be recorded and be posted on the PAsmart website as well. So thank you, everyone, and goodbye.